What's good, everybody? It's Batman. We are going to be doing another reaction banger video with Naruto. So we're going to be checking out a guy, I'm going to try not to butcher his name, Naom or Neom? I don't fucking know, but please don't judge me, and I'm so sorry. And if you ever see this video, I apologize in advance to you as well, brother. But anyways, we're going to be checking out the video. The video is basically Nobody Understands Hiruzen analyzing the third Hokage. So it's really interesting. I'll be honest, when it comes to Hiruzen, he's a very, very controversial character in Naruto. There's a lot of people that kind of dog him and give him all kinds of shit. There's a lot of people that say, oh, that they don't know what they're fucking talking about. They need to rewatch Naruto and give him basically the benefit of the doubt, yada, yada, yada. So he's a really interesting character. And when it comes to the morality of things or philosophy-wise, you name it, etc., very interesting. And even his scaling is really, really interesting and can be and have some contentious value. So very intrigued to see what he has to say. But this is probably just really analyzing him as a character overall, like morally, you name it, etc. Not really scaling wise. So it's probably not gonna be like a scaling video, but more than likely just be like a character type video, you know? So, but we'll see. We're gonna check it out. You guys already know the vibes. Make sure to check him out. He has plenty of content, a lot of Naruto videos, you name it. Not too many videos, only 13. And I think he's just starting. He's growing. He's doing his thing. 268. Help a brother out. If you guys like his content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You guys know. So, but anyways. YouTube in description, his YouTube description down below. Let's get into it.
The third Hokage trained directly under the first and second Hokage, the man who knows every single jutsu in the Leaf Village other than Kekkei Genkai, nicknamed God of Shinobi and who trained the three Sannin, even in his old age was still considered the strongest Kage at the time, to being widely considered in the first Naruto data book to be the strongest Hokage of all time. In his prime, speculated to be stronger than Hashirama, Tobirama, and the likes of Minato. And even in his old age, people still think the strongest Kage at the time really lost to someone like Orochimaru. A lot of people don't really look too deep into the meanings of a character or really undermine everything they've done as a character.
I like the music though.
Especially a character like HIRUZEN, the third Hokage being again one of the strongest shinobi of all time. Even in the age with the likes of Maikai, Kakashi, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, people like Minato, HIRUZEN was still considered a god of shinobi. At the start of Naruto, HIRUZEN is portrayed as this old man who isn't really doing much as Hokage, as he's in his old age and he's barely able to walk around the Leaf Village without a cane or multiple men around him to guard him or even just take care of him in general. As the series slowly creeps on, we get to see more of HIRUZEN's character as he takes care of the likes of Naruto and people like that and younger shinobi, and he tries to lead the younger generation of shinobi and set a good example for them. He's portrayed as this really weak, frail old man at the start of the Naruto series just as a way to hype up his fight with Orochimaru even more. Seeing that this old man was scrapping and even at some points in the fight, although heavily suppressed, was able to hold back and even almost kill Orochimaru at some points. This, as we know later on into the series and when we creep into the later parts of Shippuden, isn't that much of a crazy feat, but still when he's revived at his old age in his old man form, he's able to hold back the Genomasa with 4 clones and just the 4 basic elements being water, fire, air, and earth. He's able to hold back and even push back this Genomasa, which was able to push away and even at sometimes just completely negate the forces of the allied shinobi forces, which by itself is extremely impressive, but that's not what I want to harbor on for too long. As we know in the Naruto series, as I've been over in my later videos and my earlier videos, there's such things as mental nerfs in Naruto. When as stated by Haku, when acting on defense of a loved one or another, someone that you deeply care about, your strengths can go even past your limits. Given the example of mental buffs, mental nerfs are even different from this, as instead of buffing you mentally and be able to go past your limits, this greatly suppresses your limits and makes you even weaker than you already were, not being able to fight your full strength and even sometimes being in this mental haze. Even as we know, one of the strongest shinobi of all time, Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, actually fell victim to one of these mental nerfs. As in the fight with Obito, after discovering that Obito was actually the masked man who attacked the village all those years ago, Minato kind of found this mental nerf which didn't allow him to fight on par with the rest of the shinobi, and even on par with the rest of the gods of shinobi like the Hokage and such. Discovering Obito was the man who attacked the village.
Okay, so far it's pretty good information. Nothing really crazy or nothing outrageous or anything like that. The first beginning things he showed about Hiruzen as well, those are all basically retcon stuff, just giving a heads up for you guys. He's not stronger than Hashirama, he's not stronger than any of that. There's plenty of evidence to actually contradict those statements. Obviously old Hiruzen literally scales to Sannin, you know, so we have that as well. And like young Hiruzen though, whether if he was like full prime young or like 10 years younger Hiruzen, whatever, like in the Nine Tails incident, that Hiruzen is actually stronger than the Sannin and he would fucking slam them all. And he's no joke. He's basically above Sannin, and he's like basically at that point he's like, you know, kind of approaching the levels of like people like Itachi, Minato, Pain, you name it, etc. And Obito. Like what's it called? But he's still not even near there. Like he's not there. Like he's still below that. Like even like Itachi was fucking more superior than Hiruzen and Orochimaru around that time when he was in the Akatsuki. You know what I mean? Like Itachi, while in the pre-massacre, threatens Danzo, who literally scales to Hiruzen as well, and says, "Bitch," like, you know, it flexes his Mingekyo and says what he'll do. You name it, if he doesn't obey like the ultimatum and whatnot. Like, so yeah, like Itachi was stronger than all of them. You name it, the whole nine. You connect the dots. Like, so Hiruzen is really strong, but he's not like that strong. When it comes to further scaling, like he's also more stronger than Tobirama. He was literally able to perform better feats wise. He's more faster. He was able to get to the battlefield faster than Tobirama with body flicker and everything. He was even stated in the data books to surpass Tobirama as well as a ninja and shinobi. So like you have all that stuff. So Hiruzen is very, very impressive. But when it comes to approaching people like Minato, Obito, Pain, Itachi, Hashirama, Madara, and all that, he's not near that. Not even Prime. Not even old Hiruzen, whatever. The strongest argument you could ever use for Hiruzen to be like an absurd amount of scaling is like the one where it says he's the strongest Hokage or whatever. But once again, it's just a statement, you know, whatever, etc. We unfortunately don't have any feats. We don't have any screen time. We don't have anything. You know what I mean? We need like some fucking like new manga one shot like what we got with Minato in order to get something whether of where he actually was in power. Because unfortunately, with all the evidence that we do have in the show, there's just nothing to suggest that. You know what I mean? And then when he's brought back as an Edo, where his age can affect him anymore, and basically he's like a live Prime Hiruzen in a sense, or like the younger Hiruzen that was like 10 years, you know, whatever that was stated to be, that could just easily kill Orochimaru instantaneous, yada yada yada. That Hiruzen was able to like have impressive fucking feats as an Edo, combat against like that big ass wood, you know, statue thing with all his clones and whatnot, still made it and literally protect the entire Shinobi Alliance, be able to save Naruto with raw speed with his staff from the Divine Tree while Tobirama couldn't do shit. Like, so he has tons of impressive stuff along that line too. But either way, that's about the most you really get with Hiruzen when it really comes to it. He's kind of a very complex character because there's not really a lot on him, you know? Other than that, the only other thing we know is that he knows like thousands of illusions, and that apparently there's like some other data book information that he knows like all kinds of fucking jutsus and Konoha, whatever. When it comes to him knowing everything, that's a little bit contentious because never once has he's shown to use the gates. Never once has he shown to use like shadow possession or any of this other shit or whatever, yada yada. So all that is contentious. But he is shown to be able to do a lot of jutsus though. You know, he could do, you know, you name it. So, but that's about it. But from everything he's saying so far, pretty straightforward. Nothing crazy.
All those years ago actually literally mentally crushed Minato, leaving him in a state of haze. Better described as mental fog. Circling back towards Hiruzen, we very obviously see him in a sort of mental nerve for this mental fog as I described during his fight with Orochimaru. During the beginning, he kind of monologues to himself that he's fighting his former student and sees a vision of his former student through Orochimaru in the present, speaking in past tense being the future version of Orochimaru that he's seeing currently. This all culminates with Hiruzen going teary-eyed and Orochi going teary-eyed at some points, with Hiruzen resolve being overcome by grief that his own student turned to the dark side. The three legendary Sannin, and even at some points being considered one of the strongest shinobis during their own era, actually turned to the dark side, and he felt like he failed as a teacher. Having to watch his own student grow up and train him during the hard times, and then watching his student try to fight him and come kill him for the village, it's kind of heartbreaking for Hiruzen and he can't really stand that. His resolve to defend the village again being overcome by the grief of Orochimaru. We don't really see Hiruzen go, "Oh, Orochimaru, I'm going all out now," but it's kind of implied that Hiruzen is really holding back and not really trying to kill Orochimaru at some points. His longtime weapon and friend, the Monkey King Enma, actually noticing this and telling Hiruzen to get himself back into it or he'll lose the village. Throughout the entirety of the fight, Hiruzen is struggling and fighting against his demons of the past, coming back to haunt him in the form of Orochimaru. His failures to raise the fourth Hokage's son, Minato, and also his failures as a teacher in teaching Orochimaru the bright side instead of turning to the dark side. We all know that Orochimaru is an extremely jealous character who has nothing but envy for him, and wants nothing else but power. So watching his own student turn to the dark side was nothing but tragedy to Hiruzen. Some people would also like to consider Hiruzen a bad person in general for treating Naruto the way he did. But it would have actually went against Minato's wishes, as Minato didn't really want him to be raised in this really high fantasy life. He wanted Naruto to come on his own and without having the bearings and the actual expectations to live up to the 4th Hokage's name. So that's kind of why Hiruzen didn't tell him. On top of that, by exposing Naruto as being the 4th Hokage's son, it actually put more of a target on his back.
Yep.
For other suspicious groups like Danto's Abu Black Ops being one of the main targets to put a actual bounty on Naruto's spine. Imagine if Hiruzen actually did tell everybody that Naruto was the 4th Hokage's son and how much it would affect Naruto's life. Not only would Naruto be the bearer of the Nine Tails, but he'd also be Minato's son, so it would kind of create a clash and a divide between the village. On one hand, we have people...
Yeah, it would cause a lot of fucking problems and put Naruto in danger.
Being the 4th Hokage,
he says it many times.
Expectations for him, and on the other hand, we have people aiming to get his head on a stake, literally because he destroyed the village, or the Nine Tails inside of him destroyed the village. Regardless of what Hiruzen could have done, Minato kind of left it in a bad spot, because if he exposed Naruto as the 4th Hokage's son, again he'd create this sort of divide between the village, and because he did it, Naruto was forced to suffer forever. Honestly, I don't think...
So there's one thing I want to say before I let the video finalize and conclude. One thing he didn't mention was the fact that Hiruzen, when he was fighting against Orochimaru, for the most part it's true, he was, like suppressed or mentally nerfed, whatever, struggling, yada yada yada, and same thing similar with Orochimaru. But then there are points where Hiruzen does get mentally amped multiple times, and when he's mentally amped, he's only equal to Orochimaru, and he's able to slightly get the advantage. Okay, so he does have his mental amps as well, not just mental nerfs or anything like that. But even that is still not enough. And in the end, he was able to overpower him. You know what I mean? And whatnot. But that's kind of what you're working with. So, Old Man Hiruzen, he's strong or whatever, but he has his limits. You know what I mean? Even with mental amps, the guy is equal to Sonic and slightly stronger. That's not that great, especially in comparison with a whole bunch of other ninja, but it's still strong. Being in the Sonic tier is a big deal. You know what I mean? So
Naruto would have changed that much as a character knowing he was the 4th Hokage's son. These expectations were something Naruto was always supposed to live up to, as he was the child of prophecy. People like to throw shade and jabs at Hiruzen for not telling people that he was the 4th Hokage's son. But in his position, what would you do in that situation? Having to be forced to come out of retirement, and then having the weight of an entire village on your shoulders after the entirety of the village was destroyed by the Nine-Tailed Fox, what would you really do in this situation? Have this newborn baby with the Nine-Tails inside of it have a new target on its back by announcing that he's the child of the 4th Hokage? On top of that,
he's going circular for a good while, but
he has the QB inside of him. It's a rough decision for anybody to make. I don't see anybody making that decision ever. So the fact that...
But he has good points. He has good points. And I do really appreciate him bringing up all of that, because that's what makes eventually Hiruzen a very controversial character. A lot of people really think he's like a shit Hokage, and all this other whatever, blah, blah, or he fucked up, or he did Naruto really dirty. The whole Naruto stuff, that is just blatantly, just blatant misconstruing context, you name it, and just not fair at all. If you actually watch the anime, there is an abundance amount of evidence of Hiruzen actually taking care of him, being a father figure to him, going out in the woods and camping and showing him how to fish and get food and yada yada and all this shit, you name it. Literally paid for all his shit, his expenses, gave him a room, you name it, yada yada, took care of him. Didn't reveal him being as Minato's, 4th Hokage son or whatever, due to putting him in danger, the whole nine. It was already enough with him being fucking with the Nine Tails, whatnot. Him also being with that, it would just cause so many problems and put him in danger, etc., etc. Hiruzen extremely, extremely cared for Naruto. He cared for everybody. The entire village was his family. You know what I mean? But when it came to Naruto was also a special case for him, and he absolutely cared for Naruto. There's so much evidence for it, but everybody chooses to ignore that evidence and be like, oh, he's a shit or whatever, and and Naruto had such a bad life and this and this and this and yada yada. And it's there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? And not only that, you can't really sugarcoat or kind of baby somebody. If you want someone to grow as a human being, they're gonna have to go through the tribulations, go through conflicts, go through certain obstacles in life in order to grow as a person and to learn what life really pertains to. You know what I mean? It's not all rainbows and sunshine. It's not like fucking you're a spoiled fucking brat and can just have whatever you want, or live in a rich family or some shit. You know what I mean? It's not how that fucking works. The real world sucks, okay? It's not fair, etc. It's extremely dark, yada yada yada, good and bad. So when it comes down to it, it's very, very complex. And when we're actually applying transparency, Hiruzen was actually a very, very great person for Naruto. Now, when it came to him as a political figure, as an Hokage, that's a little different. There was a lot of things he definitely could have done tremendously a lot better, and he did fuck up many, many times in that aspect. We'll put that out there, but overall, that's basically it. And at the end of the day, Hiruzen's kind of like the embodiment of no one's perfect type vibe, you know what I mean? To where he at least had a good heart, he had good intentions, and he did his very best. But his problem is he was a bitch. You know what I mean? He wasn't strict when he needed to be. He wasn't decisive when he needed to be. And he was always just putting up with the bullshit, not doing anything about it. He was letting Danzo do whatever the fuck he wanted. He was letting Orochimaru do whatever the fuck he wanted. But after seeing him do Hitler shit, he didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, there was just so much. Like, Hiruzen was too kind. That was the problem. He was way too fucking kind. And when it really, really mattered and was super important for him to get his head out of his ass and whip his dick out and say, you know what, this shit ends now. You know what I mean? He never could do it. He just couldn't fucking do it. You know what I mean? He just absolutely could not. That is the department where he lacked upon, and which is why there were so many goddamn issues. If he was actually put his foot down and didn't put up with the bullshit, there could have been a lot of things that could have been prevented. And we even see that as an example with Minato, where it's shown in anime only, though, where if Minato was still alive, okay, the Uchiha would have never been massacred. Fucking Sasuke would have never been rogue and all this other bullshit, whatever, yada yada. Like, there's so many things would have fucking changed drastically to where it would have been way, way greater and way better. You know what I mean? And that just goes to show you the difference between someone like Hiruzen and Minato. For one, Minato's more powerful, but two, Minato just understands how the shinobi world works better. Or better yet, he just doesn't put up with the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing some crazy Hitler shit, he's gonna be like, hey, you're going to jail or you're dying, bitch. You're like, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? Or if there's some weird ass Danzo dude trying to fuck everything up and be stupid and make everything complicated and escalate, he's gonna also immediately shut that shit down and pull an Itachi and be like, hey, bitch, you listen to me, I'm in charge. Like, there's a certain point where if you, whatever you are, when you're in a leadership in something, you have to be balanced. You have to know when to not overstep, and you have to know when to put your foot down. Because if you don't, shit's gonna get really bad. That's the main problem when it comes to Hiruzen. Other than that, Hiruzen's a great fucking dude. You know what I mean? People are just dicks, and with any anime, let's be honest with you, anybody will look for anything to misconstrue or bullshit or whatever, utilize sophist rat fucking tactics and be completely dishonest and paint false narratives, Anyways, let's get into it. Let's finish the video.
Make him a bad character or a bad person. It just makes him rational and making good decisions for the village and Naruto himself. It would have also made it a lot easier for the Akatsuki to target Naruto, as throughout the village and throughout the entire world he'd be known as Minato's son, instead of Naruto Uzumaki, this random little blonde kid from the village. At the start of the series, the reason why the Akatsuki never came after him was one, because Itachi had no interest in coming to the village.
Now, to be fair, it doesn't make a huge difference because Obito technically already knew all that. And if Obito wanted to, he could have told the Akatsuki. It wouldn't really change anything technically. In a way, it could have, because at least like the lower Akatsuki members in tiers, maybe they would have had more incentive or insight to do something, But then again, Itachi or Obito or Pain would have been like, no, and made up some bullshit, whatever. But like, no, not now, whatever, yada yada. You know what I mean? Because once again, Obito already knew all that information. He already knew all that shit. You know what I mean? Yet they never did anything. And they always bullshit or had all these reasoning, yada yada, to not attack the Hidden Leaf or try to get Naruto, etc. And it was mainly because of Itachi. He was the obstacle.
And two, because Naruto's name actually started to get traction and notoriety, especially for the fact that he had a bridge named after him. With the brand and the title, Son of the Fourth Hokage, on him, this would have made it a lot easier for people to track him down and actually extract the Kyuubi out of him, organizations and crime and criminals to kidnap him constantly. Criminals on the Mafia or any other sub-organization shadow group within the Hidden Leaf Village.
Or any fucking nation that got bullied by Minato. Or anyone that was killed by Minato. You know what I mean? So, man fucking slaughtered so many people in the wars.
Kidnapped Naruto on a whim and tried to get actual ransom money out of him just because he's the son of the fourth Hokage. Not just because they had the Kyuubi inside of him. Because he had the Kyuubi inside of him, people were fearful. But if he was branded the 4th Hokage son at an early age, this would have made it a very easy target for Naruto, and this would have made him the subject of a lot of crime and kidnapping. So Hiruzen not at all is a bad person for these decisions, and if anything, he's a good person for some of these decisions, as it made Naruto's life a lot easier than it could have been. So in this situation, I'd like to thank you guys for watching the video. And
Alright, so that's basically the end of it. Pretty good video. Not too bad, not too shabby. What's it called? Pretty good. You know what I mean? I'll be honest, never heard of this guy, whatever. It was pretty good. I actually was pretty impressed. You know what I mean? If I had to give it a rating, I'd say 8 out of 10. Pretty damn good. Not too bad. Like, even the editing quality is pretty nice. I love the music, chill vibes, you name it. You know, and I feel like he did a pretty good job, at least analyzing Hiruzen overall. And it was pretty fucking good. I was actually very impressed from that. Not too bad, especially for somebody that, you know, is just starting, you name it, and whatnot. And that's the interesting component of it. You know what I mean? Whenever you have like these very low YouTube channels, whether they only have like a couple hundred subs or 1,000 or 2,000, whatever, 9 out of 10 times those YouTube channels are the ones that are just dropping straight bangers or extremely transparent fucking videos. You know what I mean? Or just very, like, you can tell like they really want like to give what should be given. You know what I mean? For the anime community or Naruto community, and that's what it matters, bro. Nobody cares about, you know, bullshit, false narratives, or sophist scaling, or rat scaling, or Kakuzu beats pain, or all this nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, nobody is here for all that bullshit. We all want to just basically get straight to the business, enjoy the love and passion. That's it. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, no, it was great. You know, I'm glad you enjoyed it as well, Derek. So no matter what, that I really absolutely enjoyed that. And it's kind of a sad reality how like the really big Naruto YouTube channels that have like fucking 100,000 plus or whatever, you name it, are over here like either spreading false information or over hyper focusing shit and misconstruing context or whatever, or just coming out with like blatant contradicted scaling videos of like shit that just makes no fucking sense. Like, it's crazy how you can have all that stuff from big people and then go to little, like, to the young Padawans, you know what I mean? And it's just straight, like, just goated shit. You know what I mean? It's really extremely ironic. But overall, really good video. He did a great job. Was there a lot of areas he could have mainly worked on? Definitely. Probably could have showed way more manga scans, way more references in the manga or anime or whatever, just to kind of make his arguments more stronger or whatever. Because it's basically just a lot of hearsay or a lot of, like, you know, reference type arguments, if that makes sense. And unless you really know Naruto, you're not really gonna know. And for all you know, this could just be nothing but subjective, you know, arguments, basically. You know what I mean? So like, when it comes to like the whole possibility realm or actually definitively proving, you know, whether if Hiruzen's actions are justified, he probably should have pulled his evidence a lot more better. So I will say that. And then 2, when it comes to it, like, there is a lot of things that were basically left out that he could have also added to it, to make his notions more stronger, you know, or just to provide more insight, and yada yada yada. So it's just little things like that, but that's just me kind of nitpicking. But other than that, it was a great video, fan-fucking-tastic. You know what I mean? Really good. I'm not even perfect myself. You know what I mean? So really great. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And like I said, you guys know the vibes. Make sure to check out his YouTube. Give him all the love and support if you love it. Anyways, that'll be it. You guys know. Make sure to leave a like. Comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think of this video. What do you think, guys? What do you think of Hiruzen overall? What do you think? Do you think he's a shit Hokage politically or a good Hokage politically? And do you think he was evil to Naruto or great to Naruto? Those are the 2 big questions. Let me know what you think of Hiruzen. And as always, guys, subscribe for more content. Subscribe to guys on the channel. Be plenty more Naruto content along the way and reactions, you name it, etc. Gaming. I'm out. Peace.